No. Yeah. Sensible. It's old man. And then one day. Never. It's like,
Addition.
No, I need to do it. It's just so. Works not in brown.
You need to. Yeah.
Weather. We're gonna use
Something for me.
for readings. Reading.
Yeah.
And,
Can I talk in the morning?
Thank you.
We opened a couple of them already. Yeah, I think. I'll probably do
Solid works.
One of those.
Yeah. Burns all red and yellow. Nice, dude.
And you have a browser?
I was just gonna.
Right.
I was just gonna. Like. You do a lot of.
I don't be up here, but we'll be able to see it. Yeah, we'll be able to see it.
That's
Like, tell you things.
I was like.
That'll work right. Thank you.
Depends what you're concentrating.
Recording started?
Caps for the front of the truck.
Hi, everybody. We're in week 8 and we're doing today quiz 8.02. You can ignore the number on this sheet. It's impossible to keep. We move these around every semester. It's impossible to keep the labels. We probably should not have put them on there. Then we'll continue talking about the readings that you did for week 8. And I'll talk some about that fingerprint adventure we had with the FBI and the fingerprint identification, because a lot of that's very much relevant till today. There are 3 sign-up sheets going around. Does anyone have any thought on your progress in the course towards your integrated reports and so on? It's I'm enjoying talking with some of you, and you don't wait for office hours. All you need to do is text me or call me. No appointment needed.
Professor Lambert, hi. I had a question.
Yeah, hi.
This is regarding the final report. So I'm trying to integrate actual
data from different municipalities across the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. region. and I'm having some trouble locating some data from some localities like say Fairfax County.
So Dan, thank you. You sent me a email about this also. So
I did, yes.
tell everyone is that this integrative report might only take you 90 minutes in December. If you're doing the slides on the readings, turning them in Monday morning, you're outlining a task that you would use to get a consulting contract. Using the methods of the reading for your integrative report topic, then you're doing the same on by Wednesday morning and Friday morning. You're
Right.
finding a task or tasks based on the quiz, the methods from the quiz. Your 90 minutes or so in December, all you're doing is stitching together all those various assignments. You are proposing to do work and telling the client what you will deliver, but you don't have to do any more independent work. I mean,
Okay.
it's
Well, I
what
feel-
you do it, and actually, if you do it and do a great job on it, you'll get A+ and the TAs will love it. But I don't want to say you have to do any more than reorder, repackage, refine a little bit the assignments you turn in, because maybe something you did in the second week of the course, you won't be able to resist updating it a little bit. And then
Yeah.
the rubric for it, there may be one in the Canvas. We'll look closer to December. But the main idea you can get most efficiently from looking at the sample integrated reports from previous semesters. We will look at another one, again, at the integrative reports, samples of those ASAP.
Okay, so if I can't get the data, would it be okay if I just
Use synthetic data like a toy data set that I create.
Yeah, I don't feel like you need any data of that type you're describing. I don't want to make the rest of the class think they're going to do some separate activity. This is maybe why don't you give me a call and we'll see.
Yeah.
I want to hold you back from some genius activity. Does that make sense? But at the same time, I want to suggest to the rest of the class, they need to go out and find some data. We should be able to draw a line, a corral around the what you're doing in these weekly assignments. I want you to have a nice holiday in December, not think you're starting a new line of work.
Understood. Thank you.
Good. It's really good question. I'm so glad you're asking it. Anyway.
Hello, Professor. This is Iyad Slim. I have a question on the same topic. So
Yeah.
for the integrated report, are we expected to use every piece of reading that we did?
Oh, good.
And
Question. Can I answer that first?
yes.
So have a look at the previous semester's integrative reports. Each of those has 25 to 30 tasks, and they all use all the quizzes. So because that's objectively everyone's done the same quiz, and then I feel like you should be getting at least one task, one solid task from each of the week's readings. But sometimes you get one or two, or even three from the week's readings. It depends on your style of how you do the reading. And the graduate students, they're doing more readings than the undergraduates. But they all add up. Let's say there's plus or minus, there's 11 or 12 weeks in the course. So, you're getting 2 quizzes, a little less than 2 quizzes, because we have fall breaks and things like that. So there's 20 to 24 methods from the quizzes, and then there's another 8 to 10 weeks of readings. So that's how it adds up to about 30. So you'll have a look at the previous semester's integrative reports. There's 25 to 30 methods in there, and yes, you should try not to leave any quizzes out for sure, and then have another 8 or 10 methods from the readings at least. The whole report is that they've been 50 to 60 slides. I think you're seeing them. Sometimes a little bit more, not much less than that.
So, Professor, if I understood you correctly, you're saying that all the quizzes that we do, those are mandatory to be in the report. For the reading tasks, that's up to us to decide which one we want to add to it.
Yes, because everyone's doing different readings. So you have a choice of which readings you're doing. So we can't say, fix that for the whole class. But certainly everyone's doing the same quizzes. The students are only branching out, doing different readings, choosing different aspects, parts of the readings for their integrated reports. And look, once you understand what I'm saying, if you have a truly breakthrough improvement on that, it's all good. You talk to me in the TAs, call us up individually, because I don't want to hold back your thinking and your progress but I'm sort of describing if you worked for me in a company, what PwC or any of the others, etc., there would be a sort of a style of how you propose tasks to clients, and that's what we're achieving in this class, is sort of getting everyone in the same style. But if you're our top employee, I don't want to hold you back because you might save the company someday. Does it make sense a little bit?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Anyone else have a thought about that? And remind me, we'll look at another couple of integrative reports. We did it early in the semester. And it's not, you don't need to be talented or smart or whatever, genius level. Be organized though. So collect all your quizzes for sure. And one or on average 1.5 tasks. If you're a grad student, you probably got some more tasks because you're doing a few more readings each week. Any else you want to talk about that integrative report? And the TAs and I will be all available in December to help you be efficient in this. Even we've looked at the drafts of the reports. It's not a big deal. Set yourself a timer. 90 minutes, I think you can knock one out. Okay. I guess everyone's noticed we're moving to that FMEA chart. We enumerated failure modes. We collected from all the different methods, other weeks of the class, from the quizzes. The rest, it's some way stymieing or could be frustrating, could be at the minimum, it could be at worst misleading, and a key failure mode of some complex system you're assigned, it could be left out or missed because there's too much, simply too much. Too many failure modes to address. Even despite that's the topic of this week. How do you filter down the failure modes, those few that matter that you want to have learning? But there's another way, and that's what we're going to do for the next couple of lectures, is instead of accounting failure modes, we're going to account the modes of success or the modes of assurance or the modes of safety. The two philosophies, they may well meet in the middle someday, but the premise of this quiz called, it's about STAMP method, which is roughly safety rules accounting method. It is going to simplify maybe your first day on the job, because you'll say, I'm much more comfortable, or the existing documents at my work, there are many more and more clear to me that than any documents on failure modes, is that I have the rules for safety assurance. And the STAMP, unlike the failure modes, work. That was sort of invented in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It evolved. The stamp came about, it was born in the 2000s from the aerospace community. And why they just had they had a lot of documents on success, many more documents on success and the rules for assuring success. Thus, and they called them all, they collected them all and called them the safety rules or the safety. Weirdly, they called them the safety constraints. Isn't that interesting? Like, why would they call it a constraint? But go ahead.
Especially in aerospace, you're often limited in what you can do because you have to follow those rules. Like maybe you want to integrate some new technology, but it's not well tested enough, and so you can't.
And another way to see it is don't fly too fast, don't fly too low, don't fly too high. It sounds more like constraints. That's different than saying don't crash in 1 million ways to crash, but I just told you 4 or 5 ways not to crash. You see the efficiency of it?
So it might be easier to persuade people to plan for success than failure, so.
It's positive, it has a positive connotation. It's in some cases, not all cases, simpler. It doesn't rule out that you're also going to do the failure modes. Like lightning could strike the aircraft. What the bird could hit the aircraft. Those are the failure modes. But I just told you too high, too low, too far, all those.
Against a lot of failure modes and those strains.
Correct.
Handle the rest.
If you had some simulation, it would account for both philosophies. But sometimes those are too costly. They overwhelm the person, the organization, the regulator. Thus, we're going to do safety modes for a while. Now, why there's a left and a right of this chart of the stamp method. So this is like any artifact of human activity. It's got some quirks, and I'll explain those, and then you just be ready to meet those. It's a little more quirky even than the failure modes because it's more recent. And those quirks are as follows. When it came about, it was invented by MIT Professor Levison, Nancy Levison. That group decided they ought to collect the safety rules, the safety constraints, the safety assurances, both for the system conception. See, this is the birth of the system, the design, and that's on the left, as well as when the system's being operated, because they said there could be constraints, safety rules, constraints, assurances that come about, and there are important considerations in the design, and there's important safety rules, constraints in the operations of the system. We used to do salad bars. I can't even remember. Is that in the hint for this quiz? Is it the salad bar, or like, is there a solution? No, I think the student did their usual thing. So let's go back to the main thing. But it's super fun because everyone eats at a salad bar. So when what's the one we're talking about? What's a up 29? What's a place with a salad bar? You'll know, like TGIF restaurant. If you go to the salad bar.
So Golden Corral has a salad bar.
Golden Corral, yes, thank you. Good one, Golden Corral. So on the left, when that salad bar came about, the founder of the company, the manager of the restaurant, they designed, they said this salad bar is going to be at least 3 or 4 feet off the floor, so that the children can't put their hands in it, the youngest children. And then it's going to have a sneeze guard. It's going to have the plastic over it. It's going to have ice inside. And what else do you notice? It's going to have a separate tongs for the corn, for the rolls. Is this rushing back to you that you have encountered a salad bar sometime in your life? All that's the design of the salad bar. On the other aspect, on the right, how is that salad bar operated? Anyone who's been there, remember there's a sometimes there's signs there, right? What do the signs say? Have you seen, not often on the salad bar, but somewhere in the restaurant?
Yeah, so typically you're gonna see a sign denoting what
What each food item is, but you're also going to see, and this is important because
Yeah.
I've worked at salad bars before. You're going to see, please use clean plates for each visit.
Nice, awesome job. So that is an example, that's a constraint on the use, on the operations. So that's gonna lie on the right of this chart. So don't reuse your plates, you gotta take a clean plate back to the salad bar. What, did you have another one?
Yeah, yeah. Wash hands before
Oh, yes.
before you serve yourself. Yeah.
Yes, and also it says all employees must wash hands before returning to work.
Yes.
And it's very alarming when there's no soap in the bathroom. You will notice the same as I do, or there's I mean, you can wash your hands and then you touch the doorknob. So I think the latest, somebody should get a world prize for those things now that let you open the doors with your feet. Do you all use those? You know what I'm talking about? What else? What's another way to operate the salad bar? Maybe there's a thermometer on there that you have to watch the temperature of things.
Various food safety regulations.
Yes, when they, at the end of the day, I'm sure maybe some more of you have worked at the end of the day, you put some cellophane on the olives, and then does it go back in the refrigerator? And so how often can that occur? Days, weeks, the same olives return? I don't know myself. Go ahead.
They probably have some sort of heating regulations as well. It's you have to reheat food in a certain way for it to be safe to eat.
About the heating and the whatever else. So I'm just thinking, maybe the better thing in operating the salad bar is throw away the olives at the end of the day. That would be an assured thing, or grind it up and put it in a compost or something like that. What else? Any other rules of salad bars? You all.
You'll often this is actually something
New that buffets are trying to get towards, is because they're trying to cut down on the food waste, and so they will oftentimes see patrons going take a lot of food, especially like the salad, and not eat a lot of it. So what they will do is they actually have employees like serving what they want, but smaller portions.
I see. So they've got people on the back of the salad bar. I've seen that. I think I've seen that at Golden Corral. Maybe
Yes,
you're remembering somebody's serving from the salad bar.
correct.
And I think that helps safety probably as well. Like it has to do with contamination, and maybe there's some ancillary benefit to portion control and safety, contamination and all that. And what else?
Yeah, and
There's
some
hand-
other
Well,
restaurants on the same point, instead of having employees do it, they'll have a sign on the table saying if any leftover, so to discourage people from putting a lot of food that they're not going to finish, it will acquire extra charges.
Yes.
I've never seen that before.
We just need to make sure now we're fishing for safety rules, not only the rules that help the restaurant survive. One of them just bankrupted from they had an all-you-can-eat seafood or something like that. Did you all follow the same thing? What restaurant was that?
Lobster.
Red Lobster
Red
last.
Lobster.
Yeah, so I know where you all are coming from, but we want to make sure we're dealing with, protecting the client, the eaters. Go ahead, yeah.
I don't think they do this in the US, but in Europe, they have regulations for health standards. They don't put salt on the table. If someone wants salt, they have to ask.
Oh, good. So, salt, they consider salt a danger?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So it's a like, that's a very humane, long view of don't let people, don't tempt them with too much salt. Yeah, that's an interesting one. What else about the salad bar? I think certainly you don't want to electrocute anyone there. So there must be some rules about how the grounding, you know what a ground is? You tie this, any metal parts on the salad bar are probably grounded, so you don't touch them and get a tingling feeling.
Plugs are all either out of sight or locked down in some way.
Yes,
With them.
yes. Well, I don't know, I'm thrilled by this example because everyone. Does anyone want to comment about, so I think you're getting it. The design of the salad bar is one thing, but then it could be ruined in how it's put into practice. You have a bad manager or boss. And then it all goes wrong. No matter the best design, there needs to be rules about the operation. And no matter the best manager and operator, there need to be safety constraints on the design. So anyone not wonder about it, or are you getting it? Not tough. Now, how about the layers here? Some of you can tell me, why don't you have a look? It's a bit overly elaborate, but that's how it was delivered to us. This is right from the original concept of the stamp. At the bottom are the individuals, so the workers. So some of you, I appealed to some of you who worked at these before. Nobody's probably designed a salad bar. I don't know, but many of you have operated them. So that's up to the individual at the bottom. At the top is Congress and the agencies that regulate foods and transportation of meat and vegetables. And then the individual companies, this would be the Golden Corrals, the restaurant associations, the managers of the individual subsidiaries or restaurants, and then the individuals. Is that the bottom? There's a little more at the bottom. So is that clear enough? Now, like, does anyone need to memorize all this? No, this is an MIT style nerd level. So that's why all these words are on here. Yes.
Question, so when we're coming up with the disruptive conditions, can there be multiple disruptive conditions per requirement?
Oh, good. I haven't, let me get to that part. Yeah. So this is the this left and right and these layers, that's there for you to enumerate all the rules for safety, the constraints on safety. And we talked about some of them: washing hands, height of the salad bar, all temperatures and all that. Now, the inventors of this realized it wasn't enough. They needed to meet the other side of risk analysis. So then they do basically what we've been doing all the rest of the course. They say, how could these safety rules be disrupted? And then they came with sort of like, you can see these things over on the right, inadequate enforcement, inadequate execution, failures of feedback. That is, you don't check up on the hand washing with video cameras and all the rest. That's a failure of feedback. So they came with some recommendations how to track violations of the safety rules. But that's your question is about that, but that's sort of secondary to the philosophy of STAMP. It's sort of like adding in what else we did in the course. Let me point out one other thing about this. So what's the quiz is asking you to brainstorm some rules, right? Is that what it says at the top? What's it say at the instructions? We can't read the very top. Okay. Okay, so it says identify disruptive conditions that contribute to violations of the requirements. So what it's gonna be, you have to think of some requirements. You see at L left, level 1, left, level 2, you can label them. Some requirements, show you've got an understanding of this. And on the right, the operations, you've got some requirements at level 1, 2, 3, 4. That was sort of our shorthand. And then think of disruptions. And you've already been well trained in how to think of the disruptions. You haven't been so well trained in how to think of the rules. If you want to see this for real, go to the website of the FAA and it'll have thousands of pages of how to keep the airspace safe. You can, there are no secrets of the standards for air traffic control and operating airports and airlines and all the rest. And aerospace, the controls, constraints, all that stamp implementation, it's a bit exceeds that for Golden Corral. Now, I don't think you're surprised about that. But it takes a long time to explain airplanes, less time to go over a salad bar. All right, let's see what in the quiz hint, what the student did. All right, so they, do you see over here on the left column, they named some of those safety constraints, employee confidence, diplomacy, so on. And then some disruptive conditions are in the middle column. And then they said what kind of type of disruptive condition it was. So these are sort of use the rubric of stamp, do some exercise with your semester topic, and then propose you're going to go to town with stamp for 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years, thinking of safety constraints for your project, for your semester topic. Is anything else to point out? Just there's a parallel. Yeah, go ahead.
So do you want us to follow the table of the student example, or do you want us to look at the table on the first page and then create like below the giant boxes? Like L1 would be Congress, and then below that, you're writing the safety constraints.
Yes, I think it's the same. It's not either this or that. It's this second page, it's an implementation, it's an understanding of the first page. So this might be an efficient way to I think all that's missing here is this, somebody didn't say this is L3 or this is R4. That's where these came from, the first column.
Are those not the mini box on the top right? Like they're not that inadequate constraints you said at the bottom right of that page?
No, those are, no, the first column, the student wrote down were the actual rules. So height of the salad bar, temperature of the salad bar. These are the assurances. So it says rule requirement, but you can fill in constraint. That's what these are on the left column. I'm glad you're asking me this. So this is really the part of it is on the left here. It's an understanding of let's use those levels and then the left and the right, the design and the operations to think of some safety rules. And only then there's some disruptive conditions. But you're familiar, all this you're sort of familiar with. And this condition type, what's needed to say for that is that these this rubric of feedback, enforcements, and the rest, it's complemented by what we've been doing in the class up to now. Organizational failures, software, hardware, human, all that, you can use those to brainstorm failures or stressors as well. I think I got some to your question.
This is not the same as the bottom right chart. Like if you scroll up to the first page,
The bottom right is a
it says like feedback failure.
those are the ways to disrupt. Those are the ways to disrupt. Let's see that again. Will you scroll up to what she's asking?
That bottom.
See the bottom right? So this is the MIT version of everything we've done in the course up to now. And they're saying the way systems fail is there's they fail to enforce the safety rule. or they fail to execute the safety rule, or they fail to track, document, and that's a failure of feedback. So that's a list. It's sort of maybe it's all it is a different view of what we've been doing up to now in the course. Yeah, I'm glad you're asking about that. All right. So which does anyone like? I mean, what would you do? Let's say you're hired for Boeing or someplace. Do you like failure modes, or you like to say, here are the guarantees, here are the assurances? Do you have a thought about it? Whatever you choose, assign the other to somebody else. And then it's a team effort. But don't skip the failure modes to do the safety or vice versa. Go ahead.
I would start with doing it this way in the what do we need to do, just because a lot of the failure modes are going to be pretty directly related to the requirements, so you can get a lot of stuff done at once. Like telling people don't fly too low means I don't have to tell people don't buzz the tower, don't buzz houses, don't buzz the hangars. I can have one rule that satisfies all of it. And then second, I go through all the failure modes that wouldn't be directly covered by those requirements, because don't get hit by birds is not really covered by any of the ones you talked about at the beginning.
What's your semester topic?
Mine is totally unrelated to this. Mine's video games. This is nothing.
Video games. But let's say like to
Safety requirements for video games are not as strong. So there's still stuff like cyber.
I think there would be. Let's say I supply or own video games, then I might have some rules about flashing lights, about the
Not as many. Not as strict as an airline.
and but are you convinced you can proceed with this quiz? You understand the difference?
I mean, I'm basically separating them out into requirements related to safety and requirements not related to safety. And I just have two tables for it. But I didn't think I'd have quite enough for the safety requirements, so I decided to use both.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the we've done failure modes, now we've done safety modes. There are probably some more philosophies of risk analysis. And we talk about one in this class is the disruption of priorities. That's yet another sort of theory, philosophy of risk analysis. But this is a big one to understand STAMP. Right. What else is there? We can, I think, move on. You all have enough to do this. Why don't you, I want to motivate the FBI, this paper. So keep this paper in the bullpen, this identification of risks. But can you open a browser and put in the keyword fingerprint and then IAFIS, IAFIS, and then FBI. And let's see if some images come up and I'll show you. So oh, here we go. Yeah, these are good ones. So here, I think you've seen these fingerprint. This is what we were talking about the other day, is somebody who's expert in history. I think all these people are retired now. They can glance at this and then note, oh, it's got 6 of these features, 2 of these others, and 3 of these other else's, and they know which aisle to go and try to narrow it down. And everyone's fingerprints are unique. And I think they go away when you pass on. Does anyone know for sure? I don't think you can fingerprint a corpse, in other words. So there were some limitations to this. Obviously, now we use facial recognition more often, and what else? DNA. So but this was the state of the art. And we still may use fingerprints occasionally. I think they must have ways to do this now. How about this? Here, can you zoom in on this one? This is a great one here. Do you see what's going on? Can you get even bigger on it? Do you see what those aisles are? The aisles are important, but what's in the what are these people doing? Can you discern there's drawers? And each drawer has hundreds of cards with prints on there, sets of 10, or if it's a crime scene, maybe they only get 2 or 3 fingers from there. Would you want this job? You bet you would.
Really
You
well.
would if you didn't, if the alternative was no job.
Well enough, then sure.
So, and what else do you notice about this? Look, what does the ceiling look like? It looks like this looks like an airplane hangar, doesn't it? So all this was to keep you from, when I read something the other day, it said you might have did you see the Louvre was robbed? And they interviewed an FBI agent, and he said, if should some idea come into your head, you might rob the Louvre, rob the Smithsonian or whatever else. He said there's 100 ways to not get caught, and you'll think of 20 of them. But you're really out of luck because you're against all the FBI. The chances of success are so small, and they caught 2 people already, right? So it's better to live the straight life. Maybe that's the best part of today's, because these people will catch you. Is it a good thought? If you get some sinister idea, take a nap instead. All right. Go back to the figures. Let's see more. So actually, when I was a postdoc, I went and toured. It wasn't that room, but it was at the FBI inside. There's a yellow building in the downtown of DC, and sometimes it's in TV shows. But they took us inside there. They showed us the actual files. People were walking around doing that actual job. And I told you the other day they had about 30 million of them. The population was 300 million, so not everyone's fingerprints were in there. Clearly, it was a partial coverage. Can we, with the computers, we probably have all your DNA, because if you didn't contribute your DNA, your curious cousin or mother or sibling has done it. What else? Anyone, you want to open up any of these? What else? They don't use ink on these anymore. I was fingerprinted a couple of years ago. It's you just push your finger on a screen. You all know what I'm talking about? They have some Windex in there. They say, oh, we didn't get it. We didn't get it. You ought to do it again. They take some Windex and wipe it off. And then I felt like I was so inadequate. It took several times. I think it was their fault though. What else? Oh, how about that flow chart? Let's see what that is. See the flow? No, there's a flow chart that says IAFIS architecture, because that's going to come up when I do the paper. No, a little, it's in the next row. Down one more. See that IAFIS architecture? Let's look there. Is it way to get it bigger? Oh, good. Oh, my gosh. So look, it's 35 pages of how this system works. Is it good? So I hope I'm convincing you this is real thing. So somebody thought looks like it was invented in the 60s and 70s about crime, the increase of crime. Are you reading the same thing as I'm doing?
Yeah.
Rand Corporation. This was a big deal. What else? Let's get to some figures. See if there's any. So all this is talking about philosophy of. Okay. Oh my gosh! Look, pie charts of arrests, all felonies, burglaries, on and on. So this might be where you all go to work. You see the burglaries, and here it says AFIS begins automated fingerprint identification system. So they had fingerprints before this, but the whole systems engineering of this modern version started in 1983. What else? Let's watch this like a movie, because it's all exactly what I'm going to be telling you about in the paper that you read. Okay, good enough. Different types of crimes, hits, and so on. By state, keep going. Keep going. What's that? You think it's scaring the criminals? I don't know, I guess you all don't know, computer screens used to be deep into the box like. And this was very slow. If you think, your phone is slow, this was like. It was a lot of trouble sending prints over phone lines, modems, and all that. Next. This we're going to talk about, this figure, we're going to talk about this. That's how we got here. We're going to talk about this in when we go over the paper, but you see it has federal users, state and local police officials, on and on. And these are the different storage, transmission, how the courts would interface with this. Next. Okay. And actually, I think you all have the computers. It recognizes my print, right? To open up the computer. So it's coming back. It's in fashion again. Okay. Speed, if you can go faster, just slow down the TA if it gets to something interesting. Some of this is about the compression. So I told you they didn't store, right today, it's nothing to store the gigabits of one image, but they didn't have the storage then. So they reduced what was stored. Only statistics about it. Next. Okay, and then it's got some references, so excellent. Just go back once to the images and let's see if there's anything else interesting there.
OJP, it's a government website. Who actually published this?
This is a government website?
It says .gov.
Yes.
My question is.
OJP, Office of you can see what OJP is. Good question. I don't know. So pop out of this and let's see, back to that image thing. Is there anything else there?
Office of Justice Programs.
Office of Justice Program. So it's probably part of the Department of Justice.
You can see the Department of Justice.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, I'll just point out one term. See, it says latent, look right here. It says latent hit of the year. What could it mean?
Long after the fact, find something.
Latent to them means they don't know whose prints they are. So they found a print and they matched it to a person and then they high-fived, they solved the crime basically. So that was the kind of thing they considered successful. Anything else you want to curious about on this? All right, I think it's good. So why don't we pop into the paper? And then, so these people I told you about the other day, and this was the move of the fingerprint system and the automation of it from Washington, DC, where they very congested there, having a big workforce. It was getting unwieldy. And the senator from West Virginia convinced Congress to move it to Clark's. Does anyone, I had this question the other day. It's either Clarksville or Clarksburg, some 90 miles south of Pittsburgh. Starts with Clarksburg, West Virginia. So it may still be there, but that was what was going on around circa 2000. And the question for this class, and it was for our project in UVA, was what can go wrong in this acquisition, $1 billion, $2 billion. Today it would be a $10 billion project, and that's what this paper's about. So let's just jump to the key figures and tables. We use the same methods that I talked about on Monday, and we'll get to some of that. Here we go. So this is the holographic model we used it to structure the interviews of the people there. And today, you know what you would do with it? You would aim your phone at it and load it into your GPT, call it your GPT project to identify sources of risk to the system acquisition. And then you might say, okay, I just loaded up the template. And then you know what you say, what's missing? What did I leave out? And it would tell you, well, the biology, the chemicals, it might double it or 10 times. And you get paid for that kind of thing, knowing the question to ask. Then the other thing you'll do that we did is we interviewed hundreds of people and we took their responses and we used this to classify them. In the end, we counted up hundreds of sources of risk to the acquisition, the movement of this system to West Virginia. And that's the whole story of the paper. So let's see any more details of that. Okay, so we flipped any source of risk. We said it might belong simultaneously to one, two, or more of the elements of that taxonomy of the holographic model. So it might be in the subsystem, it might be in the software, and it might be in the design phase. So that's the classification of failure modes. Could we do this with STAMP? Yeah, but we didn't think about it. I hadn't heard of STAMP when we did this, but probably if we did this again, we'd redo everything, accounting the safety constraints. It would be just as beneficial. Next. And then we counted up. So of all those hundreds of sources of risk, one of them was they couldn't get enough employees in West Virginia. Go ahead. Yeah.
We keep using this framework for safety, but is there any actual reason why we have to use it for safety? Could it be used for success instead, like financial success?
Yeah, so all this started with nuclear. Now you can use it for a school, hospital, your video game project. Yes, it fits. That's why this class is 1/3 biomedical engineer. Good class, because they're using it for the surgery or medical devices and so on. That was the first lecture of the class. This is all it is a bar chart sideways that counts up the hits to that taxonomy. So you see it says 180, 200 hits to the program consequence, few to the temporal time horizons, some to the information management, geography. And they determined they couldn't get all their qualified people to move from Washington. The biggest trouble for this program was not the technology, but getting people willing to move and then be willing to live in Clarksburg. Once they were in Clarksburg, it was good because there were no other jobs, so they wouldn't jump over to another part of government or industry because there was nothing. All right, next. These are the proportions. So the last one was the absolute counts. This is the same chart, but it's the proportions of hits to that taxonomy. Next one. And then this is the pairs. So if it hits a subsystem and the software, we consider that a paired hit, the same source of risk. And this was the top hit. It says user and the subsystem Y. So that was the most sources of risk have to do with this interface between one part of the diagram and another part of the diagram. And then it falls off, depending on your taste, it fell off quickly or not. And this was ultimately interesting to the FBI. And when we left here to meet them at 8 a.m., we had to be in downtown DC at 8 a.m. So we were rendezvousing at Charlottesville Airport, 5 a.m. All three aside in the back of the sedan. It was horrible. I thought, oh my gosh, is this what I'm going to do my whole life? Is consulting. It seemed like a consulting project. And then we met with them from 8 to 11, presenting these results that you're seeing here. And then, you know what they did? They didn't go to lunch. They went to the firing range and shot their weapons. That was interesting. And we got in the car, came back to Charlottesville. All right, what else? Oh yeah, so you've seen this before. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it. We scored all the sources of risks, high, medium, and low, on these scales that you're familiar with. I already told you about these when we were talking about the space station. So, and then if you scroll down just a little bit, it's a definition of what's high, medium, and low. So this was I think, I want to say it was impactful. They had a war room that papered walls like this. Still, the screens were not too good. The computer screens, so they printed everything out. All the parts of the project were papering the wall of a room this size. All around here, the $2 billion some project. Next one. And we were able to walk around and say, here's the issue. Do you see these? Once we found the pairs, hits, we turned it into narrative. So we went from the technical accounting analysis to language that the bosses could use, the executives. And that's what this is. The first one says relocation. I already told you about that. The leadership, the staffing, the schedule, the customers, individual police forces, the new processes for storage and communication. Next, and go down just a little bit. Contract management, cost overruns. You see all this? So it's essentially you could do this from the commerce school as well. But we were engineering. We were confident we were doing at least as good a job because we understood something about the data and the anyway, physics and chemistry. Next one. Next, keep going down. All right, so here's we're looking at those images and all it was called the architecture of the iris, the integrated fingerprint identification system. So this is the architecture of that transition, the different subsystems they have to finish before the integration of them and so on, acceptance testing and then delivery. So the concern was that this whole thing was going to take too long to bring about. And so we did a trade-off analysis. If we could speed up one or more of these activities, then would it speed up the delivery time? Is it an important question? Yes, because billions of dollars. If we spend a little effort here and say we saved $50 million, you'd feel good about your job. You're only paid what? 100K, 200K, at the most 500K. In one day, if you save the government $50 million, it's a good ROI on your career.
Nobody wants to be the administration that ruined the fingerprint system and now we can't.
Yes, we don't want to, it's visible. The failure of this, highly visible. If it's late, it's no good. And it's built into the contracts that you won't get paid if you're late. There's what are they called? Delivery performance bonuses for being on time. All that. There's a lot at stake. So it seems like, oh, we're just looking at lines like, you write all the time in class, but this was real money. Next one. And I'll show you the trade-off analysis. So can you zoom in a little bit? These are the alternatives to advance some of those schedule elements from 32 months, 46 months down to 34 months for two of the subsystems. And these subsystems are like reading the cards, digitizing them or coding them. And then, let's see, what's another example? Even just walking them from one place in the building to another is a kind of subsystem. And how much it's going to cost to do that? Do you see the cost? It says 1 million for alternative 1 million for alternative 2, 2 million. That's nothing for a $2 billion system. And I said, save 50 million. So you see what's going on here? This is trade-off, design trade-offs analysis or process trade-offs. Next. And we summarized it. That's just the uncertainty of the delivery dates. Next one. Here we turned them into probability distributions, months. These are just the months to deliver, probability of being on time. Next. And here's the trade-off. If we spend this vertical is how much we're spending now to advance the schedule, either 2 million, 1 million, for each of these two alternatives, or we spend nothing and we stay on course, the way the system is laid out on the wallpaper. And it's saying if we spend $1 or $2 million, we can get the expected delivery time down from 41 months to 39 months. So it's not as thrilling as writing a poem or a symphony or something else, but this is how you'll get paid when you leave this university. Save your bosses some funding and save them from embarrassing extra months put in. Let me say one more thing about this chart. So we did this in the routine, but also we said we're the pessimists, and it's a 1 in 10 worst case scenario. A lot of stressors. It could be as much as 45 months relative to 40 months. That's 5 months where people are waiting on others. It's not good. That's an embarrassing situation. So in the worst case, it's even more dramatic, the savings from speeding up the plans. Is this the end of it? Yeah, all that is just that chart in a table. And some of you read this for your assignments due a couple of days ago. So I hope this is a good indication. You can go to work in this industry. It's one of the few that's growing. You see all the layoffs that are happening? 300,000 jobs, 30,000 jobs, whatever it is, it's in the news every day. This Homeland Security and the military and the policing, it's at least level. So maybe you'll be working for them, and it's not always on crime. There's other aspects that they need your help. And two of the Department of Homeland Security, you all know 2 of the heads of that are UVA alums. It only started in the secretary level. It only started in around 2003, 2005. One of them was Janet Napolitano, alum of the law school. Another, Kirsten Nilsson, alum also of the UVA Law School. So it could be any one of you in charge of that. And then give everyone else a job. Make an agreement. Okay, that's everything. I'll see you on Monday.
It is also stuff for my phone. I wanna know if it's like